Guys, it's back with another episode. I've really just finished up all of my sewing. I'm getting ready for coaching, and I thought I'd make a quick video for you guys about one of the other things that I'm doing in my personal life to help me go from that rough ashlar to that perfect ashlar. So let's knock 3 times and let's get this started. Hey guys, it's Z. I'm back with another episode of Serving Freemasonry, and like I said, I just finished up kind of doing all of my sewing, where I was talking to you guys about kind of leveling up the clothing game to kind of raise you above the base, you know, and how it has such a dramatic impact, on you and your mentality and how it can affect everything else. That I thought I'd make this other video about one of the other things I do, talking about my language. Now, for any of you that have met me prior to about 8 months ago, you are probably saying there is absolutely no way you, Zanasni, are making this video on talking about curbing your language, because you don't. And up until about 8 months ago, you would be absolutely right. I used the F-bomb like a comma. I put it in between syllables of other words and any other word that I could throw in there just to use that language, because, you know, like I showed you in the video, I had a Marine Corps shirt on. I have a Marine Corps pullover now. You can look around my house. There's a lot of Marine Corps stuff. And as a veteran, we used it all the time. And that was just part of how we talked. And that doesn't make it right. It just makes it kind of what we are and what we do. And about 8 months ago, I walked into an office and was having a conversation with someone, and they started using foul language on the regular. Like, it wasn't just like they had one specific sentence or situation where they dropped a F-bomb or something like that, and then they kind of went back. They were using it the whole time. And I wasn't even using it, which is weird if you had ever met me before, because I tried, especially at school, you know, you don't cuss. So when you hear other people doing it, especially in a setting where you shouldn't be doing it, it becomes slightly odd. And when I was listening, I'm like, God, man, they sound really stupid. I hope I don't sound that stupid when I use that language. Now, mind you, a lot of people give veterans a little bit more leeway in our language and things along those lines, but I didn't necessarily want that leeway anymore. I didn't want it to be socially okay because I'm a veteran to use that language. I don't want to sound stupid. I'm going to stop using it, right? That's just how it is. And so I made a pretty solid effort to stop using all that language. And for about 85% of the time, that language has kind of just gone away. Some of it's been very easy to get away with. Some of it's been very hard and still creeps back in, because you're in a situation and you just don't want to fight saying it. You just want to say those words. For instance, I watched the Baltimore Ravens game last night, and there were plenty of words that were flying out that were less than honorable. And I knew it when they were coming out of my mouth, and I really didn't do anything to stop it, although I should have. And I will the next time. You know, we take a look and go, okay, I'm just going to improve on that. But one of the other things is that we know that as men and as Masons, we know that language has become very base. If you go to Walmart, you see kids using that language. You hear parents using that language. You hear the kids using that language to their parents. You hear the parents using it to their kids. If you've ever gone to a school, you hear that in the hallways and in the classrooms. It's just base. And that's what the rough ashlar is. It's base. That's us in our base form. And so what we need to do is get away from that base form and elevate ourselves to becoming that perfect ashlar. So if you are one of those guys that uses that language, you're base. I'm not trying to be mean. I was that way. Still am. 15% of the time. I still use it, and I go back to that base rough ashlar. And it's our job as brothers to try to make sure that we're not at that base level. So I'm asking you guys, stop using that language. Now, I'll give you a free pass, right? If you step on a Lego, if you hit your thumb with a hammer, if there's any of those scenarios where we know for sure saying, oh, fiddlesticks isn't going to cut it, then yeah, okay, just make sure, read the room, make sure that everybody around is kind of like, okay, yeah, we understand why he said that. And then say it, get it out, and then stop it. Because if you're anything like me, that was actually the hardest part about stopping my language. It wasn't the first word that I used to describe the situation or in the conversation. It was the next one, then the next one, then the next one, and the next one. Those were the hardest. Because what I soon came to realize was when I said that first one, I kind of started getting into an angrier mindset, right? And I understand that. Please don't get me wrong. If you kick your toe onto a chair and you say, who the that hurt. We get that. For me, it was very easy to then go to the next level. Al, my toe hurts. Who in the left this chair out? Why didn't you put it the way like I told you to? Now my toe is broken and I'm going to have to go to the emergency room and it kind of went from there, because those words that we use when they are curse words, and if you want to think of, they curse me to be really unhappy the entire time that I use them. And by not using those curse words, I alleviate myself of the curse of being unhappy, because I'm no longer allowing those curse words to leave my mouth. We read in the Great Light, it's not what goes into a man's mouth, but what comes out of a man's mouth that defileth. So think about it when we talk about, like, I almost kind of think of, like, there's a South Park episode, if you've never seen it, it's the one that's, it says hits the fan, and they use the S word like 150 times, 200, something ridiculous, and when it happens, they, all these curses come around. But I think that it's more of a curse to you, because when those words leave your lips, it's just going to bring you down even more, right? Think about those people that we know that use that language all the time. And I can almost guarantee you that those people that are using that language are not happy. They're probably not always doing the right things. They're not people you want to hang out with. And you just take a look at them, and you hope and pray that they do something better. But really, take a look at their attitude. That language is just a death kill for our attitudes. And I've noticed that a lot. Having stopped cussing up to 85% of the time, except for the Ravens games. And I even felt it at the Ravens game, and I knew I'm like, I got to stop, because it's just making me even more angry. Is that when you don't use those curse words, you're happier, right? You have to find a different way to express yourself. And when you find that different way to express yourself, you find that it's a lot easier to get over those situations. Like if you stub your toe and you say, "Oh, son of a gun, that hurt like a big bad mother." That's all I said, mother, right? I didn't finish up. That hurt like a mother. And you're like, "Oh," then you kind of move on, you go with it. But the moment you start cursing is the moment that it goes into that next realm, down and down and down in the rabbit hole. And I find that, again, is the base part of us, right? It's easy for most of us to throw that language in, but we are not meant to be base. We are not meant to be rough Ashlars. We are meant to move to that perfect Ashlar. So, brethren, you don't have to undertake this quest, but for a week, right? Just a simple week. If you are a cusser, right? If you use that language like the salmon of Capistrano, that's just so very, very plentiful. That's a Dumb and Dumber reference. Hopefully you guys get it. If that's just you, right? It flows so very, very smoothly. Take a week. And if that's too much for you, take a day. Take one day and don't cuss, right? If that works out for you and you notice the difference, do it the next day. And when that day works out better for you, then you do it the next day. And then the next day. And then you find that you don't need that language anymore. You don't need to curse yourself to always be angry by using that language. So until next time, stay fervent.